the stage, instantly drop a banger interview, then go into the server and take a chicken dinner. It doesn't come that easily to everyone, Blank. So really nice squad in terms of the way they just approach the whole tournament cycle here, and you love to see it. Can they keep it up? What more is in store for us today from Rejects, though? That's a question that we will have to answer inside of the battleground, and we are back into it with our first of 3 Erangels. Plane path is here. Oof. All right, let's have a look how this one goes then, Blank.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit worried right now because Alter Ego's dropping pretty much very close to the Gladiators once again. I don't know what they did to them to cause such pandemonium between both these squads, but yeah, Alter Ego's got it out for the Gladiators at the moment. Really did take them down fairly quickly there over on the first match, but pretty Western playing path, honestly. This does make it quite awkward to get over towards our eastern side. So far with these playing paths, we've had Western circles as well. We'll see if this is the same story, in which case no team has to be too worried, but this might head over towards the eastern side of the map, towards Yaz, maybe Sosnovka. Again, that forces everyone down towards the western bridge, or you're on a slow rate rotate for the safe one over towards the eastern side. But it remains to be seen. I'm speculating too much. It's not even happened, and it's already just a fair old circle towards the center side, really baiting me. And that's okay. Most teams should be pretty pleased with this too. Reject down towards the yellows, trying to move out towards farm, Milta region, Tiamba making a long crossing over towards, it looks like Novorep Noya, with Stalwart actually heading over towards Gatka. So this is something that we've not seen in quite a while. Jackie is Stalwart deciding, you know what, Sosnovka's not worth it for us right now. Let's head somewhere more central. And I think that might just be some of those muscles being flexed from this team right now. I think they've realized that they're extremely strong and they just want to pull off this first place. They're in a position to do it every single game. They've got some points. Every single game, they've got into the top 5. This is a team that has got such consistency on their side. It's very hard to catch up with. Even if Loops had that big day yesterday, really pumped those numbers, it's hard to catch up to a team like Stalwart that game after game after game, they're constantly acquiring some kind of profit.
It's just so hard to slow them down, man. Especially because obviously, you know, like you're saying, now you can kind of adjust the play style a bit, where you can be like, well, look, we don't always need to have unbelievable games, as long as at this point, for the next 2 days, we can maintain consistency and keep farming those points up. Try to keep our spot for as long as possible, especially with the grouping that you have from, say, 5th, 4th, all the way up to 3rd. That's where there's room for a little bit more shuffling, you know, 30 to 20 points. That seems a little bit more plausible. But pushing the whole way up to knock Stalwart off at the top spot whilst they're sat with a big 150, we'll see. We'll see how the game develops, man, because it's not going to be an easy task.
It is.
And it's just as well, like, they're playing such, I think, reserved sort of PUBG Mobile, in the sense that, you know, they're not kind of going out giving it in terms of the egos, thinking, look, we're the big whales in the lobby now. You know, if we want to rotate, if we want to take stuff off of people, they'll have to give it to us because they know just how confident we've been in a lot of these firefights. They're still playing smart about it, which is kind of another element, right? Being able to maintain your arrogance whilst playing so good over the course of the past 2 days.
You know, I kind of sense the old Stalwart social media team already cooking up a meme right now with the "it ain't much, but it's honest work," because, like you say, this team are just a couple of farmers, right? You know, they're all wearing the straw hat. They're just picking up points after game after game. And it's really, really nice to see. And this is the type of thing that is going to make you into that championship team over in the PMGC Grand Finals, the CCT, if you will. So again, it's just gorgeous to see. It's very hard to beat a lot of times. And I think that, honestly, you look at a team like Loops, who's been able to keep up with this. This is probably one of the biggest surprise teams we'll see within this tournament so far from Bruce Green, because I did not expect Loops to be doing this well. Even in their region, they looked pretty laid back. You know, they took some good games, but it never felt like they were constantly controlling. But I think that they've turned things around, right? They've got really serious for this tournament. And that's what you want to see from a team that gets a slot in PMGC. You know, they've had a bit of a regroup, a reshift in terms of players. And they're like, look, this is our chance to go big mode. This is where we can make it. So for Loops Esports, I'm incredibly impressed by this Brazilian squad. And Brazil just continues to impress every single international tournament. It's really becoming one of those premier regions.
Oh yeah, you can see pound for pound just the amount of talent that exists. And I think it's also just that ability to come into effectively, you know, a real sort of hodgepodge of different regions that you have here, where there's so many different metas, so many different sort of styles of play, all in one big cooking pot. And they've just gone, well, we'll stick to our own game. We'll stick to what we know and we'll play it confidently. And both of our Brazilian squads have done that to a T. You know, you're always seeing them posting big finishes. They're there in the final circles. If they're not doing that, they're sporting high elimination tallies every game. And they've been building themselves a legacy of points off the back of it. So for Loops and A7 to both be in the top 3 right now, that's a sick storyline on its own, right? Is that maintainable? Is that going to be the case, say, at the end of day 4? Only time's going to tell. But with how they've been playing up to this point, it looks like it would be deserved. It's an interesting one we've got on screens here, though, right? Because again, you kind of ask the question, like, what have Gladiators done? Why do Alter Ego just hate them? It feels like after that Sanhok game yesterday, where Gladiators purposely kind of hunted them down, even after Alter Ego gave up the fight after losing the first 2 players, it seems like since then, Blank, they've touched the nerve. And now Alter Ego really want to force the issue when possible, taking the fight to Gladiators. And I enjoy that. I like a bit of beef, mate. I enjoy a bit of beef on the server. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
I think it sort of makes sense as well, right? Because they drop in similar spots over towards Sanhok. They drop in similar spots over towards South George as well. So for Alter Ego, being in 7th place in a relatively safe position as well to get towards the survival stage, it sort of makes sense at this point for them to target Gladiators, put them in the bottom 5, get them out of the tournament. Then when they do go to the survival stage, they're not having to deal with Gladiators in their same spots every single time, which might lead them to being outside of that top 16, right, to go towards last chance. It's really, really quite important for Alter Ego to cause problems to Gladiators right now. And I think Alter Ego has accepted the fact that they're likely going to the survival stage. So for Gladiators, if they do make it towards the survival stage, again, they'll have to deal with Alter Ego. But Alter Ego would rather they just went home right now.
It's smart, actually. You know, putting it like that, it really does put into perspective the mindset behind it, because you take a win on 2 fronts. You make your lives easier in the longevity and the short term. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how it goes. Gladiators certainly need an upwards draft if they want to start pushing their way back in to even guarantee that the survival stage will be a possibility for them. History is in their hands at the minute. We've got a couple fights developing across the shop. It seems like some bonneting actions going on as Evos have gone head-to-head versus Mapples. Bit of a fragmented fight, though, relatively all over the shop. Bit of chop and changing going on. Seems like they're aware of the player in the Blue Lagoon. He's going to be having a bit of a swim. Fleek trying to find him, whilst the rest of the balls finish off the weakened players. So Evo's just down to Luxy, it looks like, stuck in the water, trying to keep himself warm.
Yeah, it feels like backup plans just aren't really working out for Pasija Evos today, because first game we saw that their initial play, which pretty much always nets them a knock and or a flush over on Sanhok versus Malise Esports, that doesn't work out. They crumble versus Tiamba on a bodge rotate up towards that northern side. We get a playing path all the way towards our west, leaning heavily on the left on the top edge of that playing path, which means Pasija Evos have a real tough time of making it over towards Yasnaya, their original drop spot. So again, backup plan is completely bodged, and where they try go towards Rozok, and Mad Bulls is ready and waiting to take that fight versus them. So I think Pasija Evos, I think that what they need to improve on here is when a spanner gets thrown into the works, there needs to be some kind of plan at how to wrench that bad boy out, how to deal with it in that situation, because I feel like they have a very, very set type of gameplay. They go each and every time, and if it gets messed with any way, the rest of the game starts to look pretty hairy overall.
And you've got to find a way to fix that, right? You know, you can't be that sort of fickle in the sense where things will break if game plan A does not work. Always got to be able to mold yourself in different directions. Ooh, talking about taking different directions here, barely skirting by is Reject Tokyo. Bellies full of chicken off the back of the previous game, and they take control of the hill, getting away from Gladiators that were looking to try and be a bit of a nuisance maker. Alter Ego on a move as well, grouped up, having a bit of a look at the lay of the land as they begin their rotation and start to make some moves. Few squads have suffered damage up to this point. It's Evos really that basically just down to absolutely nothing. We'll see how far they can push it. Always pretty good at playing out as a solo somehow, Evos are. Feels like they do kind of pop up in the final few circles with a solo guy every now and then. So we'll see if they can survive off of that. Alter Ego, of course, down to a triple threat from the opening moments, so they'll be playing a little bit more cautiously. Ooh. Talking of caution as well, Icy, always the point man, isn't he? Taking some recon here, might have caught whiff of the location of Reject.
Up front and personal, kind of the concierge at the desk, just welcoming teams in towards their location and giving them something to think about, sending them on their journey. And I think for STE, he has been such a valuable teammate for them so far. There's definitely other players that we talk about on that team, like Tops as well as Nerzed, who've had some seriously good plays in terms of damage dealing. But I think it is Icy who is that guy that brings and keeps everything all together on that team as a whole, because just being able to provide that information back, hold down positions very comfortably, and kind of allow the rest of your team to shine is a real admirable thing to be able to do. And I think we don't see it too often from a lot of other teams inside this lobby, where you have one player just purely dedicated to just making all the other teammates look really, really good. And I think he fits into that role very well. And for that reason, he deserves a bit of praise from us guys and you guys at home as well, because although he might go unnoticed, he is an integral member of the squad.
Sometimes doing the groundwork is one of the bigger bits of PUBG Mobile. Ooh, the unsung heroes. I8 though, kind of singing as loud as they can. Top of the tongue, their plank as they go driving in. That's like a classic Reject play, just bombarding in off the back of a vehicle. I think they've got a bit too much confidence going up against Zia. They might be down at the bottom at the minute, but that does not mean that you can run in and try and run a mockery against them. They'll still certainly hit some shots, and Chopper is looking to try and punish now to finish them off. Ooh, the nades could just be what they need. Double smoke pulled out for IA. Slow it down, but you are trapped. And this is not going to get any easier anytime soon.
Yeah, I ain't kind of trying to have that movie moment right on the old bike with the easy on the back. I think it's a little bit overzealous there, a little bit overconfident over towards Zia, who's set up in a decent position here. Pretty much most teams will try and take this. And I think for I8 to think that they could just rock up coming in from that northwest side of the map was a little bit crazy. Bit more damage from that nade on the backside. Vehicles exploded, so I don't think I8 is going anywhere anytime soon, at least. In the meantime, we do have a circle headed down towards that southwest side. Gladiators currently actually have a decent position within it. Potato Hill still involved, with Reject controlling that higher ground. Not an easy position to play a lot of times is the top of Potato Hill. Great for information gathering, but there is so many angles to play on that top side that it can lead to real big problems. Coursera down first again for Bra Esport. They're a bit split off. You can see off in the distance there, I think that's Kane looking to put in the pain over towards Alter Ego, down to 3 players. This is top 6. Nice shots from Fnatic. I think he's able to tag at least one headshot there, but no luck on the knock.
They're looking pretty amped up right now. You can see the way Alter Ego are playing this, just the movement, the way the crosshairs are in a good predictive location. It felt like they were quite ready for this fight and confident to take it. Rosemary, though, might have the smug grin wiped off his face as Bra Esports clap back from the sidelines and put him low on HP. He's got time to tuck in, gets the heal off. Rosemary now re-aggressing, putting bullets down range on the getaway driver, but can't quite stop him. Here's the rotate back for Bra as well. In amongst all the commotion, they've been able to double back towards the compound and at least tug in. Zonal stop, nipping at the heels of Alter Ego. They've got a little bit of time here. Seems like they've picked up some of the loot from the death crates and jumped back in the vehicle. Might want to give up the game on this one and rotate off. Looks like this might be a bit unlucky for Falcons as well, as they've been crashed upon and lost 2 players. You can heal from this as well. Bit of a shed there, DX's favorite. Get a quick res on the go and reset the fight.
Yeah, Six a little bit out of position there. I think he was with a teammate, like you say, though, so they had some kind of cover, but unfortunately, he just went down a bit too quick. I think Six likes to take these pretty crazy off angles, right? Likes to sit outside the way, but again, if you've got no support from the rest of your team, you're not able to hold it down, and it's just all over for you. Interesting circle, though, down towards that southwest side. We're over towards Potato Hill right now, so a bit of a gauntlet heading up towards that top of the hill, and Reject fairly happy. They're able to just confirm themselves on that top side for a long time. Stalwart, though, still over towards that western edge, most likely going to hold onto that western edge as well. I think if you're in a situation, Stalwart, you spot that Reject's on top of the hill, you're like, look, we can just hold either side. They control east, we'll control west, and we'll clash out later on in the game. This works out good for both Reject and Stalwart. You know, you're holding east and west side. You're not likely to get pushed from either edge, so it's a bit of a gentleman's agreement going on. Tiamba, though, dealing with Malise eSports, who have taken a bit of damage. Both teams making very similar rotates from game to game. So, from Malise eSports, not going too well so far, but is resettable.
DX as well. Fighting an awful lot of men right now. Too many men.
Too many men.
Here, mate. Oh, Chow going down as he gets clapped back upon from top in the elevated angle. At least being able to stall that fight for now. It's a bit of a clash as well. This one's going to be a feud. Alpha 7 up against Loops as they're let loose with the shotties round the corner, ripping lips off as Chief gets annihilated, and they keep forcing the issue. Bam! Down. Mythic's been knocked. Oh, blank. They're finding their way through Loops in seconds here. Look at the total Cali they're going to have to work with as well. They had already found 3 pickups against Alter Ego. You've thrust yourself onto 5 elims now. If they clean up on this, they're going to quite quickly amass some big elimination points. A7 are here to play today.
6 so far as well. And I mean, A7 just put Loops in the Brazilian bin. That was disgusting over towards him. Matic, though, does find one of them as A7 just tries to escape the blue here. They've already got location within the circle. Mafioso hits the medkit. See if he can do something crazy like he did from yesterday, but I don't know how likely it is. They have angles towards them. The blue is just going to force them further and further in. Ren will pick up Revo in the process, stealing some of those eliminations away from the Gladiators. Bra still going. In fact, Kane able to find himself an elimination with the nade, but it's all the way on this northeastern side. It's all going to start to pop off. You got Loops, A7, as well as Bra, all trying to push in towards Gladiators. Currently have a nice high ground spot.
Reject Tokyo always getting some limelight off the back of the big plays they had earlier on today. For DX, the story is surviving and being able to get back into the zone, a task that seems too tall for them. And Zerich has kind of nailed this in terms of his angle, actually. He's got the back of the rock covering him from up on a hill. Tulika as well is in a good position, so they can just consistently deal damage downrange onto DX, make Levi's life very uncomfortable. They might not even need to. Man's ticking away so much HP to the blue that he'll be wiped off the face of the earth in seconds. And now they can just play a bit of a slower game. Mad Bulls want to reveal their card a little bit later into this one. Meanwhile, from Elise is not nice as the Amber have spotted them. Nades in through the windows to finish them off. And a bit of a fight versus Falcons could be coming their way. Stalwart eventually deal with Levi's as well, with the last shot connecting. They're a little bit paranoid about the location that Mad Bulls were playing from, but they're not going to over-egg that one. You can just play for your own mentality here. Back off, play it a little bit slower. More fights to be had up on top of the hill, as Reject Tokyo are still playing dead center.
Yeah, I mean, they're having a good time of it as well. And I think for Reject, they do consistently hold on to this eastern side. I think they're playing it right as well. You need to sort of have that agreement with the team on the west, which is a case of we're not going to fight until much, much later in the game. In the meantime, this is how we are going to be able to hold on to this Potato Hill for a long, long while. I see those sends a little bit forward, wants to gather some of that information, and absolutely has to if they want to be able to take control of the entirety of this end zone. Getting very close now, but I like this from Reject. They too realize that Stalwart, now one of the bigger threats, are in the lobby towards them. They're outside the zone in the blue. This is where Reject can get a bit of that high ground, start taking shots down towards them. Okay, still going. Last player of Mad Bulls. Nade in the hands of Reject, sending them over the top, over towards Zia.
Look at the crash though. Move up from the back line. Gladiators starting to pull up to see if they can deal some damage. Gladiators, they've had a rough tournament. Can they start to turn it around here? Can they start to get some energy back? Mad Bulls have basically been playing the ropers, going around the edge of the circle, trying to take down the H solos. Instead, it's Stalwart that will finish the job that Mad Bulls started, putting they write the scripts in this game, moving themselves up to 6 eliminations and giving themselves a fighting chance to get deeper and deeper into these zones. Zia, or at least what remains in Earths, tucked in just on the side of the hill here, trying to keep his nose clean and out of trouble. Meanwhile, peppering into Stalwart. They're taking a ton of damage from all over the shop. Icy though, smooth moves on the reactions won't be enough. Only takes down one. Earths would have pinballed as well. If he can keep his back safe from Gladiators, the nades could do so much damage, and it could be a nice finish onto Stalwart. Not enough though, Blank, just damage, no frags.
Great delay, though, coming through from Gladiators. Maybe if they let Earth stay alive for a little bit longer, it could be worse for wear, but I think Reject looking to finish off those final players. Tixie got knocked off in the distance as Tiamba starts to rotate round. Not likely to be able to get their boy back up, who's been holding a very decent angle for them for quite some time. Instead, they opt to just 100% go for this hole towards Stalwart on the side. Circle moves back up towards their Potato Hill. And Reject, are they looking for the second chicken dinner on the day here? With the amount of control they've been able to hold towards this top side, it's looking more and more likely here, Jackie.
Reset Tokyo really starting to come alive tonight, but you've got some big names that you've got to bypass if you want to take this one. Stalwart, so strong. The mental game that they've been playing throughout the tournament has shown that resilience is their middle name. Gladiators, though, they've got to stand tall in the middle of the arena right now, being challenged as the Lions of Tiamba start to come running in. Claws are pulled out, pulling no punches. Bullets being thrown towards them. Kitsune forced to fall back, exchanges a nade off the contact from Matic. Here's some Molotovs coming your way, though, to turn up the heat. And Matic lands that one.
Could be another good grenade over the top. Goes long and might hit over towards the teammate from Tiamba. That's 2 players down now. Lee outside in the grass could have the jump over towards Matic. In the meantime, it's Reject going up against Stalwart. I think they've already found some. That's another player down now. Just one behind the vehicle. Matic jump spotting them. And Reject is tearing the Mongolian Massive apart right now. Absolutely dumpstering them. Icy on top. Looks to try and get something done. Gets a little bit. It will be one knock, and now Reject can start to focus over towards this engagement between Gladiators and Tiamba. It's not finished yet, and I don't think Gladiators are reset and ready for Reject just yet.
Reject, though, they've got to waste a little bit of time getting their HP pulled back in off of the one knock. Gladiators clean up onto Tiamba and finally finish them off, putting them down in the coffins. And look at the angles you've got to play with. This is what I was worried about for Rejects. HP is at an all-time low. Only just got Sarah back on his feet from the fumble he had in the 1v1. They've got medkits to work with, though, and utility to slow down a push. Falcons. It's only a 3-pronged attack for them. It looked like they wanted to encroach and had a bit of confidence, but the reconnaissance has told them to slow it down. OCO ready with his attention drawn towards their angle as well, playing point man with a vehicle for backup. This is going to be a harsh one. 4 players alive, 4 rejects, Falcons with 3, Gladiators mirroring that with 3 players of their own, and they're going on their own blank. The engines are turning as they make their move round on the edge of the circle, looking for information.
Looking for a little bit more here. I think they know that Reject just has such a strong position up towards the top of the mountain. If they can get themselves a second place, that's more important to them right now. They need those placement points. They need damage over towards Falcons. I think they've accepted that probably at this point in time, with the games that they've been having, with the tournament they've been having, it's not likely they're going to win out this engagement 3v4 versus Reject. So confirm yourself for second place. Try and take down these players they've been holding down the hillside for so long. Falcons currently 0 eliminations. They've done practically nothing. Lufa, though, on his angle, on the side, finds Kitsune. Heavy hit over towards him. Finally gets into a bit of cover.
Lufa. He's had some big plays over the tournament. A lot of reliance in his gun skill. Absolutely sick with a steal when he needs to be. But right now, it's a moment of silence. Everyone taking their time. No one wants to over-egg this one. Just taking it lane by lane. Puncher. Bullet connects onto it. Rips a little bit of HP off. Chip damage across the board being exchanged between Falcons and Rejects. Meanwhile, Gladiators playing for the last second approach, wanting to third party into a fight where they feel confident. They do not want to make mistakes. This is the best position they've been in over the course of the past 2 days, Blank.
Getting themselves a second place, ideal here. And with the circle moving over towards them, gives a bit more time to play around with. Falcons, though, just refusing to budge a muscle here. Smokes start to be played out, giving Gladiators a little bit more time to move. But Falcons forever pushed into the angles from Reject. Sarah edges it a little bit further forward here as Axa gets ever closer towards the team of Gladiators. Jump peeking is an impossibility for the Gladiators with the amount of shots that are coming through, with the angles that are available. Just the barest ridge keeping them alive now.
Utility is good for Rejects. Quick ammo count check as we flick from POV to POV. Everyone's pretty stable. Around about 200 bullets per person on a 5.56, so they're not going to run out of ammo anytime soon. Should be relatively okay. Nades are at a bit of a lower spot though. Couple grenades to work with. Defensive utilities there in the smokes. They're putting bullets down range, constantly firing off towards the angles where they saw movement from Gladiators. Ooh, bit of a backstab here onto Matic. Could be on the cards. Kitsune as well. Lucky as he exposes himself. Sarah trying to land with a big biceps that we know this man has. He wants to get a punch off and deal some damage, Blank.
This is good from Gladiators, though. It's a pretty risky play, but it works out. It gets them closer over towards Falcons to try and finish off their fight. But Axa finally steps up off the back of this loot crate, gets himself a knock, and now Puncher and the rest of the boys looking to move in. And with Kitsune so far away from the rest of the squad, it's going to be an impossibility to get him back up again. So Gladiators, they need to put the hurt into Falcons right now if they want to survive this. It's this tiny ridge that is giving them the cover, giving them the sanctuary. But it looks like Reject likes to send some players down towards Falcons, put a bit of damage their way. With the nades they still have remaining, they want to put them to good work.
The dominoes are falling, Blank. We're starting to see the knock-on effect. Finding that pickup onto Kitsune could make all the difference. Ocio is so confident as well to take so much space. Pushing down on a vehicle to try and draw attention. No response from Falcons. Playing it safe. Nice nade from Sarah. We know he's got a big set of biceps, but his throwing arm is strong as well. Dashes out another one to try and secure that. Detonates a little bit too far forward in front of the rock. Kitsune will expire. No matter though, even with the backup of Ocio dashing that one in, trying to get the splash damage out to guarantee it. Axa lays claim to the knock that he found earlier, and you find yourself now in a risky predicament, Gladiators.
I love that from Regiocio, though, and the rest of the squad on Reject. They have a chance now to get into third place, to try and pump up those numbers and get into a secure invite for PMGC Grand Final, so they know every single elimination counts, especially here on the third day, where points are running dry now. For teams looking to get into the PMGC Grand Finals by secure invite, today is so important. Teak does take down Lufa, making this now a 3v3, a possibility for the Falcons maybe, but a great knock comes through. Meku pops up out of nowhere. Will find one of the players in Sarah. And look at this. All hopes could be dashed. Teak comes out. Luckily, there is a refrag.
think the time bomb tried to detonate, but it might be too late for Falcons as one by one they're finished off. Gladiators now, are they going to be able to entertain us, trying to bring the pain towards Reject Tokyo, but they are farming up on the frags. Meku closes the gap, gets up in their face with a DBS, straight through the vehicle, annihilates with a backup of Matic because he's been able to punish. Now you can really just swing on this one. Look at the way he's playing it off the back of the tree. Ocio, attention drawn between two different angles.
Mate!
Gladiators, they're snatching it away blank. They're getting a grasp on it, and they've been able to pick up the chicken dinner.
A 2v4 from what was an unwinnable scenario. And Gladiators are bringing themselves out of the murk for Reject. What could have been a back-to-back for the Japanese squad ends once again in a second place that they are all too familiar with so far, Jackie. What a crazy game from the Gladiators. Meku and Matic make the play of a lifetime. Going on the 1-1 split there,